Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ community. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Tuesday, March 18th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we'll tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ television stories. We will produce the 25th anniversary of our Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. We present PrideFest in August and Pride Fort Lauderdale in February. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment show support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leader anchors will host this show to support the LGBT community. Let's meet tonight anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Will Haas. Will is a bi-coastal real estate professional and is the past president of South Florida's most popular gay social club, the Bears of South Florida. Will, the 7th Annual Naples PrideFest will be held on Saturday, June 7th. Tell me what's happening.
The 7th Annual Naples PrideFest will take place on June 7th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's titled, Hate Has No Home Here. It'll be held at Cambria Park, celebrating love, diversity, and community. Attendees can enjoy live performances, a drag extravaganza at the Norris Center, and 100+ vendors, food trucks, and a kids zone. General admission is only $10, with free entry for kids 12 and under. Despite significant challenges, including a 470% rise in security fees since 2023, the new city restrictions on drag performances, Naples Pride remains committed to hosting an inclusive and a vibrant event. The festival will proceed rain or shine, with all proceeds supporting LGBTQ advocacy in Southwest Florida. Organizers urge the community to attend, volunteer, and support Naples Pride's mission. More details and tickets available at naplespride.org.
Sounds like a fun event.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. This is my 3rd one, and now more than ever, we actually do need a community throughout, with your West Coast Florida, East Coast Florida, Key West, or Jacksonville. Let's come support us. If you can't make it, a donation would really help. We're actually doing a gala this year on April 4th to help subsidize the increase, which is really unfair to us for our security purposes. Yeah. And it's a great event. It's not a huge event, but it's a lot of fun. It brings community together.
Awesome. Awesome. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Look forward to seeing you at the 7th Annual Naples PrideFest on June 7th. Let's welcome anchor John Buckley. He's Vice President and Program Director of Unity Coalition and creator of the Coyote Initiative. John, Unity Coalition hosts free art and nightlife events on March 27th. Tell me what's happening.
Unity Coalition, Coalición Unida, is bringing two exciting and free events to Miami on Thursday, March 27th. The evening begins at 7 p.m. with the art gallery opening reception at the Scott Galvin Center in North Miami, featuring artist Jorge Alberto, a performance by the Miami Gay Chorus, light fare, and refreshments. The celebration continues at 11 p.m. at Azúcar nightclub with the reigning Miss Orgullo coronation, where Queen Serenity Luna and I will take center stage. Expect hot music, vibrant performances, and an unforgettable night. No cover charge required. Unity Coalition invites everyone to join the festivities and experience the creativity and energy of Miami's queer scene. For more details, visit unitycoalition.org. I'm super excited because this is our 15th Celebrate
Wow.
Orgullo.
That's awesome.
This is our quince, so we're taking a little different turn, and we're gonna have a pageant. I'm honored to be the honorary mister, and it's gonna be a great night with our art gallery opening as well. Scott Galvin is like the only community center that's left here by a gay pillar in our community. So it's awesome to still be able to do that and bring our community together.
It sounds like a fascinating night. Lots of fun.
It's going to be
Looks like.
fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the art opening at the Galvin Center because that's like 8 minutes away from my house. Now, I don't know, 11 p.m. at Azúcar, I'll already be in
you
bed
come
by
out for
then.
one night.
But yeah, I always like it when things are close to my home so that I don't have to get home too late.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing, and Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Unity Coalition's free art and nightlife events on March 27th.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Cindy Brown. Cindy was an early organizer of the Miami AIDS Walk and the White Party for Care resource. She is the program director for Lambda Living program at Jewish Community Services. She also served as the founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride. Cindy, now we can volunteer at Miami Beach Pride's Senior Lounge on April 5th. Tell me what's happening.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited about this. And being the founder of Pride, and now I'm the founding director, and now being a senior, I'm really excited about this. So on Saturday, April 5th and Sunday, April 6th at Miami Beach Pride, JCS Lambda Living and Sage Senior Lounge returns once again, offering a welcome space for LGBT seniors, or as I like to call them, the more experienced Pride goers. We are looking for some volunteers to serve as lounge ambassadors, assisting visitors with information, food, drinks. Responsibilities include signing up older adults for mailing lists, selling raffle tickets to support programs, sharing details about both Lambda Living and Sage Care's programs for LGBT seniors. Volunteers will also help distribute non-alcoholic cold beverages and healthy snacks while ensuring a fun and inclusive atmosphere. Miami Beach Pride unites queer individuals, allies, and supporters in a vibrant celebration of community and culture. Volunteers can also earn community service hours, and all participants will receive event details, including parking and booth locations 1 week prior. For more details, please reach out to me, and my email address is cbrown@jcsfl.org. This is really exciting. I look forward to hosting the Senior Lounge at Pride every year. It's so important that we recognize our older participants and make sure that the space is welcoming and supportive of our older community members. You know, it can get hot out there at Pride. And we offer a larger booth space. We have comfortable seating, free non-alcoholic beverages and healthy snacks like bananas and, trail mix and stuff like that. We have often had visitors come into the booth who were, almost at heat stroke. They're very hot, they're fatigued, they come in, we sit them down, we get some, cold ice on the back of their neck, give them something cold to drink and, piece of fruit or something. And it's really awesome.
Yeah. It's good also to acknowledge seniors in our community because they were our forefathers.
Exactly.
We have pride because of them. So
Exactly.
to celebrate, and we have to make sure we take care of them.
Yeah.
It's bringing together community, and community includes everyone.
Yeah, and I'm on a mission to try and get every single Pride event in South Florida to have a dedicated space for our older community members so that they can actually enjoy Pride instead of walking for a half an hour and then going, oh, this is just too much. I have to go home. So please come out. And if you want to volunteer with us, reach out to me, cbrown@jcsfl.org. And if you're going to Miami Beach Pride as an attendee and you are a more experienced Pride goer, please stop by our booth and have a little drink with us.
That is our big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Miami Beach Pride Senior Lounge on April 5th.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up the worldview. Hungary has the votes to ban their capital's pride and use facial recognition if you attend. Hungary, under anti-LGBTQ Prime Minister Viktor Orban, is pushing to ban Budapest Pride and use facial recognition to track attendees if the event defies the ban. A proposed law introduced yesterday would criminalize events that violate Hungary's 2021 Child Protection Law, which prohibits the so-called promotion of homosexuality to minors. Hungarian officials claim Donald Trump's influence has emboldened these moves. Orban's chief of staff, Gergely Gulyas, stated, quote, "We believe that pride marching through downtown, now that the U.S. ambassador can no longer need it, should not be tolerated," end quote. The previous ambassador, David Pressman, a vocal critic of Orban, resigned before Trump's inauguration. Additionally, Hungary's ruling party is seeking a constitutional amendment that recognizes only two genders, which mirrors Trump-era policies. While Orban has ruled since 2010, he faces growing opposition ahead of the 2026 elections. Whether Hungary's anti-LGBTQ policies escalate further may depend on the President of the United States. Hungary received widespread criticism from across the world's LGBTQ organizations. As of this broadcast, there has not been a statement from Budapest Pride. This is just so scary. And the fact that they're talking about facial recognition, I hope that they don't start doing that here.
Yeah,
I mean, it's, some people find it dangerous to go to Pride events now, to gather in large public places, with the gay community. And this kind of Big Brother stuff is very, very scary.
Yeah,
And that's the whole thing they want to do is they want to scare people from not going and ruin Pride. And it's not, it's a celebration. That's all it really is. Of life and of community, and to tear it down is you're tearing apart your whole community by taking a piece away from it.
The fact that the clown running our current nation has that much influence on another nation is absolutely mind-blowing. It's devastating that, we're already being pushed back into the closet, but of course this is a time for us to rally together, support each other, support community more, and just fight for what we deserve and what's only right and fair towards our community.
Yeah, I think one of the real challenges that we're facing right now, and we got a huge taste of it, 8 years ago. 8 years ago, that people are emboldened to let their biases, their bigotry, their hatred fly like a flag. They're emboldened to be open and out about it, and it creates a danger. It creates a big
Hostile
danger.
environment for everybody.
Exactly.
Because you never know. It's like, they're going for the LGBTQ. Who are they going to go for next? You never know. Just one leads down the other.
Yeah, and I've heard a number of people say, now I understand what happened in Nazi Germany and how that could happen. And not saying that we're going to have some kind of similar Holocaust type event here, but what happens is when leaders say things, people listen and they mimic and they feel like they now have permission. And that's going to happen in Hungary now that they're talking about these kinds of things.
Pride isn't about promoting homosexuality.
Right.
It's about promoting who you are as a person and walking in your pride and celebrating it with community. Like, it has nothing to do with, actions towards children or influencing them.
Course.
You can't influence someone when they know they're different.
Right.
There's no recruiting booth. It's just about us being, us being proud.
Yeah, and there's a lot to say about someone who is able to live their truth honestly and openly. And
not be
I'm
afraid.
not going back. Yeah. I mean,
none of us are.
Yeah. Sorry, not going back. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm William Haas, and let's queer up politics. Queer as Folk creator says, community faces, quote, the greatest danger I've ever seen, unquote. Russell T. Davies, the acclaimed writer from behind Queer as Folk, It's a Sin, and Doctor Who, is raising the alarm on what he calls the most dangerous time for the LGBTQ people in his lifetime. Speaking at the Annual Pride Awards in Manchester, Davies told Guardian he believes a major shift began when Donald Trump took office, normalizing anti-LGBTQ rhetoric. He said, quote, as a gay man, I feel like a wave of anger and violence and resentment is heading towards us on a vast scale. I've literally seen a difference in the way I'm spoken to as a gay man since the November election. That's a few months of weaponizing hate and speech, and the hate speech creeps into the real world, end quote. It's just weeks since Trump returned to the presidency. His administration has erased medical and legal resources for trans people, declared it would only recognize two sexes, and spun lawmakers into 9 states challenging the right to same-sex marriage. Despite these threats, community activists remain resilient. It's repeated story after story. We're just kind of trying to push us back in the closet, and we're not like that. We need to stand together as a group, show who we are, and it's also important to vote and get the right people running for offices that support everybody's rights and freedoms.
Yeah, and I also think that folks who do have a platform and have the ability to speak to large numbers of people, I see a lot of them standing up and saying things, and I think that is super important. Not everybody has the agency to be able to take a stand and speak up. And I believe that those of us who do should.
Yeah, people that are in a position that really need to speak up and promote us, and don't be afraid. We're all here to support one another, and let's get through this together.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm John Buckley, and let's queer up drag culture. Drag Race UK winner The Vivienne's shocking cause of death is announced and community is stunned. The family of James Lee Williams, best known as RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 1 winner, The Vivienne, has confirmed that the beloved drag star died from a cardiac arrest by ketamine use. Williams, who made history as the first Drag Race UK champion in 2019, was found dead at home on January 5th at just 32 years old. An inquest into their death is ongoing and set to conclude in June. The Vivienne's sister, Chanel Williams, said the family remains, in quote, completely devastated, end quote, but is determined to raise awareness about ketamine's dangers. She said, in quote, if we can't help raise awareness of the dangers of this drug and help people who may be dealing with ketamine addiction, then something positive will come from this complete tragedy, end quote. The Vivienne's family will collaborate with the substance abuse charity FayWhat on the upcoming Only Human campaign, which seeks to reduce addiction stigma and provides support resources. Williams was open about past struggles with addiction, discussing it on Drag Race UK and even incorporating it into their comedy routine on All Stars 7 in 2022. Tributes to the Vivienne, flooded in from across the entertainment world, including from Michelle Visage, Ariana Grande, Jinx Monsoon, and Rylan. They were posthumously honored with the Icon Award at the Metro Pride Awards, and their legacy will be further remembered in an upcoming documentary, Dear Viv, announced by drag race production company World of Wonder. This is a very sad story, and it's also sad to see like the increased use of ketamine as a drug, especially among younger age people. Right. It's devastating because it's very addictive, like any other drug. You know, I've never experienced any of that, but I've seen and I've heard like story after story of somebody overdosing or going into cardiac arrest, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. What people don't realize is that a drug may do something great for you, but you don't realize it has one great thing, but like millions of side effects.
Exactly.
You know, and once you get stuck, and it's a shame that, you know, the Vivienne died, but, you know, hopefully we can use her as a role model to help other people to do have this problem, or even have questions about, hey, should I try this, of not to, and just educate people on this. And then the tragedy is a tragedy, but at least the tragedy has a positive outcome from it.
Right. And, you know, I think that historically, the LGBTQ plus community has had higher incidences of drug use, alcoholism, and given today's cultural climate, I can see those statistics rising again. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, and even into the 90s, the only place that you could really meet other gay people were at bars. So the drug use, the smoking, the alcoholism were rampant. And even though, you know, we're more mainstream now, the cultural pressure, the constant fear, especially for trans people, that they're not going to be able to continue to live their truth is frightening. And as a result, you know, we see a lot of people turn to mood-altering substances to kind of deal.
You know, and that's why it's important to have places like the Pride Center so people can come together, support groups, and help one another. And places like this where we talk about what's going on in our community, and that you're not there, you're not alone. And
it's also good to just check in with each other and check in with your friends. Like, you know, you never know what somebody else may be going through, but just offer support, offer an ear, offer a shoulder. Exactly. And, you know, let them know you're here for them.
Yeah, and there are a lot of organizations and programs that if you feel that you need someone to talk to, that you are trying to get into recovery and don't know how, there are a lot of resource lines. No matter where you live, I'm sure that there is a resource line. Worst case, you can call 988 and say, you know, I'm about to use and I don't want to use. And they can help you through that. So, you know, nobody has to do this alone.
Correct.
Whether you're reaching out to a local organization or a national organization, there are people out there 24/7, 365 who are there for you to talk to if you need it. So please remember that. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up the USA view. One of the world's greatest film festivals threatens to leave Utah if Pride flag ban is passed. The Sundance Film Festival, the largest independent film festival in the United States, may be leaving Utah after more than 40 years. Organizers are weighing their options as the festival's contract with Park City ends in 2026. While Utah remains a strong contender, bids from Boulder, Colorado, and Cincinnati, Ohio are also in play. A final decision is expected by the end of April. However, a new Utah law may complicate the decision. The state legislature recently passed House Bill 77, a bill restricting which flags can fly on public-funded buildings. Though it does not explicitly ban the pride flag, critics argue it targets the LGBT community. An insider told Deadline that the bill could impact Sundance's choice. Quote, "Utah is Utah, but this goes to the heart of the community Sundance has worked years and years to develop. It's a terrible law and a terrible look for the state." End quote. The bill now awaits Governor Spencer Cox's signature. Meanwhile, its sponsor, Representative Trevor Lee, dismisses concerns, claiming it won't affect Sundance. However, Lee has made his opposition to the pride flag clear on social media, even celebrating the idea of Sundance leaving Utah over the issue. This is just ridiculous. You know, when you're talking about an independent film festival, you're talking about stories that reflect what you don't see at the mainstream theaters, stories that aren't told as widely as other stories. And it is so important for people to be able to see themselves on the screen. And when festivals like Sundance could potentially be censored, it's horrifying.
And you know, the city is going to lose all this money, and they realize they're cutting their nose to spite their face.
Exactly.
They laugh, and then all of a sudden that nobody goes, you know, to Utah anymore and comes to events, and Sundance moves to another city. They have a big promotion. They're making a ton of money, but also Sundance is sticking up for what is right.
Of course,
you know, it doesn't matter just LGBTQ, but just everything else that they support. What's right in humanity.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
It would be super sad to see that happen, but at the same time, I fully agree. Like, if it gets down to that point, you have to make it known that you're going to continue to stand on the side of what's right.
Right. You know, there are a lot of things that you won't find on your ballot when you go to vote, but there are other ways we can make our voices heard, and that's our money.
Yep. Where we put
we put our money where we're supported.
Yep.
And yeah, you know, Park City and Deer Valley are great places to go skiing in the winter, but if Utah isn't going to support people, there are other places to ski too.
Yep.
And other places are happy to host Sundance.
And welcoming.
And welcoming, exactly. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm William Haas, and let's queer up gay culture. Bianca Del Rio will host Equality Pact National Pride Gala at World Pride. Bianca, I am definitely your biggest fan, so drag superstar Bianca Del Rio will MC Equality Pac's National Pride Gala on June 4th, Washington, D.C.'s Mellon Auditorium. The high-profile event, part of World Pride D.C., brings together LGBTQ leaders and allies amongst growing attacks from the Trump administration. Equality Pac's co-chairs, Representative Richie Torres and Representative Mark Takano, emphasized the event's urgency, stating, quote, "There's never been a more important time for us to come together, to stand up, to march, and to recommit to our shared determination and resilience," end quote. Queer visibility is under attack beyond politics. The Kennedy Center has quietly withdrawn support for the LGBTQ inclusive programming, and the National Symphony Orchestra abruptly canceled a planned collaboration with the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington. Activists have condemned these actions as part of a broader push to erase queer voices. Del Rio, known for her sharp wit and advocacy, and also beauty and humor, has urgency for this evening. With the state legislators advancing on anti-LGBTQ bills and administration rolling out back protections, Equality PAC aims to rally support ahead of the critical November election. I love that Bianca is going to actually MC this and leader, and I'd love to go see you, Bianca. But it's important to get a voice out there and get heard, and we are at challenging times, and we have to ban almost all the stories today about us being unifying, sticking together, and, to fight the machine.
Right. We need to find more elected officials like Richie Torres and Mark Takano. They're both gay men who are staunch fighters in their caucuses for LGBT rights and inclusion.
Showing up and being resilient is what we need the most right now. And especially, it's great that they're having World Pride in Washington, D.C.
It's kind of ironic, yeah.
I think
to a clashing, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's really important, and I hope that Congress is in session when it happens. I don't know the dates, but I think it's important for our elected leaders to be able to see the impact, the people that their decisions are impacting, and that, we come from all walks of life.
Yep.
And we are elected officials. We're judges. We're police officers. We're teachers. We're your dentists.
Nurses and doctors, and but even working at Target, just
they're also your car mechanic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's really important for people who think they know who the gay community is to really be introduced to who the gay community is, and we're not who you think we are.
Correct.
They just see news articles or TV shows and think we all are like that, but we're not.
Right.
There are certain angles that the media portrays and that the story that they tell until people actually meet.
Yeah, I actually, in terms of media portrayals, I was the founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride, and the first year we had the event, there was coverage by a gay journalist. And, the article was great. It talked about our legacy couples, the older folks who'd been together for 25 or more years. We had a couple together for 50 years. But the picture that they used in the story? It was a picture of the Nadadores, which is our swim team. It was a picture of the Nadadores float, where the float had the swimmers in their Speedos with water guns. And I called him afterwards and I said, I'm really upset with this, because the article talked all about community, talked about these couples who'd been together for years. But the main photo for the story, of course, was gay guys in Speedos splashing each other with water, which was a small part of the event.
Right.
And I think that, in our own communities, we need to push back when we're not getting fair coverage. And after I had that conversation, it changed the way that he covered the events in the future. And, you know, I think that we need to stand up for portraying ourselves properly.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is why it's so important to have these kind of events in DC. And, you know, I'm glad.
Yeah.
And you get to see your favorite.
Bianca, baby.
Now, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBT community and allies.
If our community is important to you, share the news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Cindy Brown, and on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including William Haas and John Buckley, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ world, we hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and queer, and good night.